It is the Battle of the Bulge. Well, it's the anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge, let's say that. But if Miss Katie makes a pie soon, it will start to be the Battle of the Bulge. So, because Miss Katie's pumpkin pies, everybody asks for them. So, but what game do we have today, Toots?
Shut up. Kaisers High Seas Fleet, the Great War at Sea, 1914-1918.
From?
Compass Games.
Compass Games. Now, let's tell you the story about Compass Games on this. I had asked Compass Games for a review copy some months ago. I saw this and got all excited by this game. Never heard from Compass, never heard from Compass. So 3 days ago, Miss Katie is banging on me for Christmas presents, ideas for me. So I said, well, you know, we haven't heard from Compass Games on this, so...
And you sent me this one.
And I sent her this one.
And I ordered it immediately.
Immediately. And what shows up the next day from Compass Games? A review copy of...
this one. And the day after, the one that I ordered for the Colonel showed up the next day, so...
No, you then changed the order.
Well, you had me...
Change the order, but...
Cancel the order and then replace it with something else.
So...
What are the odds?
What are the odds? Then, of course, we've had a little bit of chaos in our lives, not deliberately because of us, but because... And this is why this video is later than we'd planned, because our besties here, Mike and Cody, went on vacation. Not a problem, you know, all normal stuff, except the young, very, very nice couple, also kind of trending to be friend of ours, Anna and Jamie from Minnesota, who are Mike and Cody's renters. Well, they were to watch the Trout's animals. However, her mother fell on the stairs and broke her neck. And they had to unask the area, go back to Minnesota, and say final respects because her mom was put on immediate life support and then passed before Christmas.
Disconnected and she passed away.
So, boy, talk about a time. Dang, I mean, you know, we're fussing about we couldn't get to the video because of other stuff, but then that...
And then Anna loses her mom.
And then Anna loses her mom, so...
In a terrible way.
But Miss Katie also has a treat for you today, a book. A book that I like a great deal. Called... Dreadnought. And it was her daddy's. Her daddy gave it to me.
Yeah, this was my dad's.
His copy.
His copy, and he died in 2017 at 97. Crotchety old bastard that he was, but I love my dad.
But it's interesting because this was given to by
my mom.
And of course his wife and my mother-in-law.
Christmas of 91, and we lost her in 95.
But so it's all just kind of funny how all this stuff circles back together.
Yes.
But it is also a book I can highly recommend for folks because I like it. And there's also, I think, the one Castle something by him is also on Dreadnoughts. But
it also serves as a doorstop.
Yeah, and as Miss Katie said, it also serves nicely as a doorstop. And you can see it's nice outside here today. I will zoom off her for a second to just merely go to the windows.
It's like 40-something out here in Alabama.
But we've had 2 nights. One night where it got down to 12 on our property, and last night it was only 20-something. So we've had to run water for both of the last 2 nights so that our pipes don't freeze and allow us to help plumbers meet their bills at Christmas because our plumbing has gone south. So there you have it. Today, Miss Katie, she's going to look at the camera here in a moment again. See, she was nice. She was thinking of wanting to give me the magic finger, and she didn't. So, but we're a week out for Christmas. We're all excited here. Everybody's healthy. All the animals are healthy. So life's good. And it's the anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge.
And
so
tomorrow would have been my dad's birthday.
And tomorrow would have been Daddy's birthday. So, and at this point, she is supposed to wiggle and
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Thanks, folks. All right, folks, let's talk about the new game that Miss Katie and I have talked to you about already. Their Kaiser's High Seas Fleet, the Great War at Sea, 1914-1918. Okay, we're going to zoom down to the box. Well, I like the box. I like those kind of World War I ship pictures, but it's a box, right? But it's a solid box, no Euro box. And I'd be attracted to the back of this box because gives you all the relevant information. It's bright. It has historic art and just enough wording. Okay. And before we forget our manners, least we forget our manners, thank you, Compass, for sending us a review copy. But let's tell you a little story here. The review copy, well, we didn't expect a review copy. We asked for one. Didn't hear, so I asked Miss Katie to get it for me for Christmas, and what shows up the next day, but, well, what's in front of you? So, what do you think of the map? Well, it's easy to read. Much like War at Sea, you got areas, but I like how big the wrenches are. Everything's easy to see. Tells you easily, not somewhere else, but on the map, where the long-range U-boats go. I find it an attractive enough map, and these are all big and easy. So the map gets a big plus for me, and of course you see minefields here, German minefields here, British ones there, or Entente powers. So, but I think this is more than some good eye candy here as far as I can. But and of course, you know, the standard bags, dice. All right, we got those, right? But the real eye candy becomes the counters, because when I saw these, I thought, you know, yeah, they're going to be small counters. And I went instead, oh, wow. I started feeling like Madeline Kahn in Blazing Saddles going, it's true, oh my God, it's true. Look how big these counters are. I mean, okay, we're going to punch one out here, and just for giggles, put it on the game map. Look how nice they are on that map, folks. Big counters, can't fuss. They're the British, the Italian, the French, the German, the Russian, the American. Then you've got other folks like the Austrian-Hungarians, Room 40, and then marker counters and your squadron counters. So, counters and everything work well. Okay, now and of course again, the tracking charts work nicely here. Now let's walk on down to the tables. There are task force charts because the game's engine, as I call it, centers on squadron play. Squadrons are kind of what matters in this game. So you've got this nice, you can go ahead, put your ships on there, and remember we have the squadron counters. Now the game's lineage is, as we talked about earlier, is War at Sea. Its lineage is of War at Sea, or maybe homage, but it's a far better map than the War at Sea one. The rules are technically 20 pages. Okay, there's 13 pages, actually 5 pages of good battle examples, and 2 pages of designer notes. And let's get the rules out here. Okay, the rules are replete with nice examples, lots of examples, and I really like, I was saying to Miss Katie last night while we were sitting in bed reading, I like the artwork here, done of the high C's. That works for me. But, you know, typical compass. And I found the rule, and of course, here are your battle examples. Your battle procedure, everything works, everything flows, and even more importantly, and I've got to give kudos to Gilbert Collins here. Man, his designer notes rock. Smitty, Dr. Smith, Colonel Smith, whichever one I am. Man, these are good designer notes. Pithy, chock full of interesting material, and you actually understood what he was thinking. So, man, I like this. Now, I suppose some folks are going to go, well, the use of squadrons, that keeps me from playing the game the way I want to. I think it's a nod to keeping this simple game within historical bounds. And when the books I've just got done scanning through last night, all of them come down to the point where everything is kind of squadron oriented. Oh yeah, and just while we're talking about squadrons, chart a table and everything here. I think that the designer is fully right the way he's trying to keep it within historical limits and making it sensible. Now, a good nod is made to U-boats in mind. We talked about that on the thing. Recall the Royal Navy covered up early in the war the loss of the dreadnought Audacious, which was both shocking to them, and they're going, oh my God, we're already in trouble for dreadnoughts. Combat, you just don't show up here. Combat is generated by, let's see here, the engagement table. How many squadrons show up? Well, I kind of like that because while reading about today at lunch with Miss Katie's really good turkey noodle soup, when the German High Sea Fleet went out in 1915, thought they were pulling a fast one on the Royal Navy, and instead they get caught out there, and the Blucher, which is slower than everything else, can't escape, and of course then gets shot up, and you remember the picture of her on her side as she's getting ready to sink. So yeah, so you just can't show up. So you see how many squadrons go to sea. Now, like many games of this type, combat is simultaneous. Well, that makes sense at this scale. So 6s are hits, and you roll dice and sum to your firepower rating. And here's your surface combat mats, and I like the fact that you see industrial stuff. Compass did a good job of the pictures they picked here. Can't fuss about that. Now you have up to 3 rounds of combat, and then with hits, ships will break off. Like war at sea, your critical element is control of sea areas. Well, you know, and we'll go back and just show you the map again. It's about control seas, so control of areas. But you also have to manage your squadrons, because if you don't have enough ships in your squadrons, they may not set the seas. So, we also are going to talk about pre-dreadnoughts. At first I had a little bee up my bonnet about this, because there are some other games where the pre-dreadnoughts and the second and third rate battleships, as I would call them, can be used, and it makes the game fun. Yeah, but it's a little tad unrealistic. I think Collins handled it perfectly right here. Yeah, they technically could matter, but they do matter here in terms of control. They don't really have a combat rating, but they can help control an area. Got that. I'm on board with that. Now let's talk about books. Everybody knows Massey's book, Dreadnought. Yeah. This was my beloved father-in-law's. You can see it's from my mother-in-law, given to him in 1991 before I stepped into their lives. Those poor people. Then there is the second book, which I've always thought was fairly good, but last night realized how much better it was after reading through the rules for the Kaiser's high sea fleets and gone, wow, how has made me embarrassingly smart and made me realize I had not given this book perhaps its due as much as I should have. Even though while raving about it, it's far better than I originally thought. And then there was a new one that Miss Katie and I found in Amarillo this summer, The Price of Victory. Oh, parts of this are such a slog. Except the parts that are a slog set the stage for the future reforms and things that are going to happen. So the slog parts, you go back and you reread and go, oh my God, I missed this. Like how in 1930 and 31, British officers' naval pay was cut twice. And they were so cheap, they said, well, we gave you a marriage allowance in 1919. It's pennies on the pound or just very cheap. So, but the parts leading up into World War I and the fight between Fisher and folks and gutting of the Royal Navy in some people's mind all plays right into this game. And so, man, I'm excited by this one. This was one I wanted to get. And again, I thank Compass. I thank Miss Katie. She was going to get it for me for Christmas, and then it shows up anyway. So we thank these folks again. And of course, it's a good rule book. It's a good solid rule book. Collins is top notch here with what he did. So there you have it, folks. It's date night. That means we go to Longhorn tonight, so we'll try to get this up before then. Y'all have a blessed one, and I hope your Christmas is coming in good and everything's safe at your homes. Thank you. Have a good night, folks. Bye.